I still remember the night my uncle tried to hurt me. It's a memory that haunts me to this day. I was alone in the house with him, and I thought I was safe. But I wasn't. The darkness outside seemed to seep into the house, making everything feel eerie. I tried to distract myself with TV, but my uncle's presence made me uneasy. He kept calling me into his room, and I knew something was off. I should have listened to my instincts, but I didn't want to be paranoid. My parents had left for a funeral in another town, and my uncle had offered to stay with me. I was only 15 at the time. He was supposed to protect me, not hurt me. My parents trusted him, so I did too. He had always been kind to me, or so I thought. Looking back, there were signs, but I ignored them. He would stare at me in a way that made me uncomfortable, but I brushed it off as my imagination. I wish I had been more aware of the danger lurking beneath his friendly facade. Looking back, there were signs. He would stare at me in a way that made me uncomfortable. But I never thought he would do something like that. He would touch my shoulder or arm when talking to me, and it always felt wrong. I tried to avoid him, but he was always there. I remember feeling uneasy when he would offer to drive me to school or pick me up. I should have told someone, but I didn't want to cause trouble. Now, I realize those were warning signs I should have heeded. It was dark outside, and the house felt empty. My uncle called me to his room, saying he needed help with something. I didn't think twice about it. I walked into his room, expecting to find something simple like fixing a light or getting a book. But as soon as I entered, he locked the door behind me. The sound of the lock clicking into place sent a chill down my spine. I tried to stay calm, thinking maybe it was just a mistake, but deep down, I knew something was wrong. As soon as I entered his room, he locked the door. I felt a chill run down my spine. That's when I knew something was wrong. He started walking towards me, his eyes fixed on me in a way that made my skin crawl. I tried to back away, but my feet felt rooted to the spot. He said something about how he had always cared for me, but his words were laced with a sinister intent. I knew I had to act fast if I wanted to get out of there alive. I tried to stay calm and think of a way to escape. I knew I had to act fast before things got worse. I looked around the room for anything that could help me. The window was my only hope. It was locked, but I knew I could open it if I had to. I pretended to listen to him, all the while planning my escape. I knew I had to be quick and quiet if I wanted to get away without him noticing. My heart was racing, but I focused on survival. He grabbed me, but I managed to push him away. I ran to the door, but it was locked. I was trapped. Panic set in as I realized I couldn't get out that way. He lunged at me again, but I dodged him. I knew I had to keep moving if I wanted to stay safe. The room felt smaller and smaller as he closed in on me. I spotted the window again and knew it was my only chance. I made a dash for it, hoping he wouldn't catch me. I saw the window as my only chance. I ran towards it and opened it. The night air felt cool and free. I hesitated for a moment, wondering if I should jump, but I knew I had no other choice. The drop was high, but I was more afraid of what would happen if I stayed. I took a deep breath and prepared myself for the jump. I could hear my uncle behind me, shouting and trying to grab me, but I didn't look back. I didn't think twice, I jumped out of the window. It was a long drop, but I landed safely on the grass. The impact was harder than I expected, but I didn't feel any pain. Adrenaline was pumping through my veins, numbing everything else. I scrambled to my feet and started running. I didn't look back, fearing what I might see. The darkness seemed to swallow everything, but I kept moving forward. I could hear my uncle shouting and cursing, but I didn't stop. I started running as fast as I could. I didn't look back. I just kept going until I reached my neighbor's house. The distance felt like an eternity, but I pushed through the fear and exhaustion. I could hear my heart pounding in my ears and my breath coming in ragged gasps. I didn't stop until I reached the safety of their porch. I pounded on the door, praying they would answer quickly. When they did, I told them everything, and they believed me. I knocked on the door, and when they opened it, I told them everything. They believed me and called the police. They were kind and supportive, offering me a place to stay until my parents returned. I felt safe for the first time that night. They listened to me without judgment, and their kindness was a balm to my shaken soul. I was grateful for their help and support during that terrifying time. The police came, and I told them what happened. They went to my house and arrested my uncle. It was a relief to see him taken away, but it didn't erase the fear and trauma. The officers were kind and professional, taking my statement and promising to do everything they could to help me. I felt a sense of justice, knowing that he would face consequences for his actions. But the memory of that night lingered, haunting me. The days that followed were hard. I had to deal with the trauma and the shame. But I knew I wasn't to blame. My parents were shocked and angry when they found out, but they supported me through everything. They made sure I got the help I needed, from therapy to legal support. It was a difficult time, but knowing I had their love and support made it bearable. I learned to focus on healing and moving forward. My parents were shocked and angry when they found out. They supported me through everything, and I'm grateful for that. They made sure I felt safe and loved, even when I didn't feel like I deserved it. They encouraged me to seek help and stood by me during the court case. Their unwavering support gave me the strength to face my uncle again and to see justice served. Without them, I don't know how I would have made it through. I started going to therapy to deal with what happened. It wasn't easy, but it helped me heal. Talking about my feelings and fears with someone who understood was incredibly helpful. I learned to process my emotions and to see that I wasn't alone. Therapy taught me how to cope with the trauma and how to rebuild my sense of self-worth. It was a long and difficult journey, but it was worth it. The court case was terrifying. I had to face my uncle again, but I was determined to see justice. Standing in court and telling my story was one of the hardest things I've ever done. But I knew it was necessary. I had to confront him and make sure he paid for what he did. The courtroom was intimidating, but I found strength in knowing I was doing the right thing. I was proud of myself for being brave enough to speak up. The verdict came, and my uncle was found guilty. It was a relief, but it didn't erase the pain. Knowing that he would face consequences for his actions gave me a sense of closure. But the memory of that night still haunts me. I realized that healing is a long process and that justice is just one part of it. I was grateful for the verdict, but I knew I still had a lot of work to do to fully heal. It took time, but I started to heal. I learned to forgive myself and to see that I was strong. I realized that what happened wasn't my fault and that I did everything I could to survive. Healing wasn't easy, but it was worth it. I learned to appreciate the small things in life and to find joy again. I discovered that even in the darkest moments, there is always hope for a better tomorrow. I learned a valuable lesson: never be afraid to speak up. If I had stayed silent, things might have been worse. I realized that my voice matters and that speaking out can make a difference. I hope my story can help others find the courage to speak up when they need to. It's not always easy, but it's necessary. I'm proud of myself for being brave enough to tell my story and to seek help. I survived that night, and I'm still standing today. It's a reminder that no matter what happens, we can always find a way to overcome it. I'm not the same person I was before, but I'm stronger now. I've learned to appreciate life and to never take anything for granted. My experience taught me resilience and the importance of seeking help when needed. I'm grateful for the support of my family and friends, and I know that I can face whatever comes next. For more stories like this one, like this video, subscribe to this channel and also tell me in the comment section where you watched this video from. Thank you.